Not only that, but Payne, Dread, Frederica and Drag were among them. There was no reason that they had to attack Maple Tree. This attack could be seen as an attempt to get rid of a guild who might threaten their position in the rankings, but still, there was a large gap between the A.S. Assembly of Holy Blades and Maple Tree. The reason that they had all come here, with Payne as the leader, was for the simple reason of wanting to fight and be victorious against Maple Tree. They wanted to fight with guilds that were equal to them or had the potential to exceed them, and so they had waited for all the members to return before attacking. However, much to their displeasure, they had to choose a time when Maple was at her weakest. Otherwise, the other members of the guild would not have agreed to this almost meaningless attack, and that is why they came now. Near the end of the day, when Maple's angel wings stretched up into the air, and the beasts were summoned, the battle began. Multi-acceleration. Frederica's magic raised the speed of all of the members of A.S. Assembly of Holy Blades. Dread, Payne, and Drag all came forward. Flying attack. Flying attack. Not this time. Yui and Mai's attacks did not hit Dread. There was no one less fitting than them to fight Dread head-on in exchange for death. Dread had experienced the abnormalities of Yui and Mai, and he had taken that information back with him to his guild. In other words, Yui and Mai's biggest weapon, which was that they were unknown, was now gone. No one was stupid enough to try and block their attacks with a shield now, and now Yui and Mai were attacked by Drag, who was in the front earth wave. His axe slammed into the ground, sending waves that broke up the floor and ripples that crashed into Yui and Mai. They did not take any damage thanks to Maple, but the added knockback that was Drag's unique ability was a different matter. Maple was pushed back, and Yui and Mai were now out of the area of effect for dedicated affection, and this was no coincidence. As if to prove it, Drag and Dread charged towards Yui and Mai. Maple and the others had wreaked havoc during the last 2 days, especially in their fight against Iftritz Kingdom. Maple, Yui, and Mai had been able to make the most of their abnormal qualities, but Maple had not known that A.S. Assembly of Holy Blades was quietly watching that fight from afar, and so they knew the weakness of dedicated affection. Of Maple's weapons, that there was a limit to Maple's great shield, and with this information, they had devised a plan to take Maple's head cover move. Like H.E.L.L. You will. Magic Wall. Kasumi stopped Dread, and Chrome stopped Drag. Kanade supported them with magic. Even if Maple had been pushed back, Chrome and Kasumi were top-level players. They were used to parrying attacks. Maple, you should deactivate it. Oh, okay. Got it. Maple heard Sally's voice, and deactivated dedicated affection. Since they knew how to deal with her, it was obvious that piercing attacks would come at her non-stop. In fact, most of the magic that Frederica was using in the back had the ability to pierce through her defenses. Those attacks were coming straight at Maple, and while she could block them with her great shield, it would make it difficult for her to move. Just as the other four were distracted by Drag and Dread, Payne moved forward in a flash. He immediately targeted Maple and charged at her with his sword and shield. I won't let you go. Sally moved in between them, and she focused, intent on not missing what his next action would be. Dread. Payne shouted. It was Dread, Drag, and Frederica who responded. G.O.D. speed. Berserk. With those skills, Dread disappeared, and Drag did not become rigid after using the skill. The two had used their powerful trump cards, and now Frederica's voice rang. Multi-full transfer. The magic that was Frederica's trump card caused all of the effects that were on Dread and Drag to transfer over to Payne. Payne now disappeared, and he was much faster than before. Super acceleration. He was even faster now as he dashed. Said Sally. Even if Sally could see where Payne was, she was unable to catch up with him. There was too much of a difference in level. Payne was twice as high compared to Sally, to begin with, and his original stats were much better. If they were actually fighting, she could react and dodge his movements, but there was nothing she could do if he was avoiding her. Where? Maple held her great shield up as she tried to look for Payne. She was sure that the shield, which was taller than her, would protect her from the front, and so it was completely to her surprise when she heard a voice coming from the other side of the shield. Holy Blade of Conviction. Payne suddenly appeared with his shining sword, and after a short pause, swung. He had 4 trump cards gathered together within him, and he was determined to take her head off. It was a sensation that was so rare to Maple, and for a moment, she could not think. Payne's sword split the oncoming monsters and Maple's great shield into pieces. It even destroyed her armor and cut deep into her body. Maple was thrown into the wall, and her HP dropped to 1. Itai no wa ia no bogyo ryoku ni kyoku furias. H.I. Taita Omwamasa 119. Defense specialization and a monster. Maple slammed into the wall with a noise so deafening that all of the members looked and knew that she had taken a lethal blow. And at that moment, they were left open. There was shock in all of their eyes, especially Yui and Mai. Even Chrome and Kasumi could not remain calm. Power Axe. GGG. Drag took advantage of Chrome's opening, and his attack caught Chrome in the chest. The multiple support spells that Frederica had been casting from the back had raised Drag's already high attack power, and it was not something that you could survive if you were hit full on. But Indomitable Guardian activated, and Chrome was able to escape death with just 1 horsepower remaining, but the situation was dire. He wanted to go to where Maple was, but Drag would not let him. In that case, Chrome decided to focus on stopping them from going to Maple. Drag continued to attack Chrome, and was shocked to see that Chrome's HP was recovering. However, his movements were limited, as he had to protect Yui and Mai from the magic attacks that were raining down on them, and it was unlikely that he could continue fighting like this. As this was happening, Payne approached Maple again. Payne had thought of the possibility that Maple would have Indomitable Guardian, but that was not the case. Not just me. Payne mumbled as he ran. The skill Berserk, which he had taken from Drag, erased the temporary stiffening afterward, and so he was able to smoothly move to his next action. Black Smoke. Kanade would not allow him to reach Maple so easily, and he unleashed his magic to block Payne's view. Izu threw some bombs into the smoke, and flames rose along with a roar. Holy Blade of Exterminating Evil. Payne swung his sword, and the black smoke dissipated, giving him a clear view of Izu and Kanade. He easily cut through the 2 rear guards and was now only a few steps away from Maple. He was a little surprised that Maple's equipment was regenerating, but he nonetheless used a piercing skill and dealt the final blow. As he was so focused, the scene seemed to play out very slowly to him. Maple leaned against the wall, her left arm still spread out. The shield that she carried in that hand now fell away. And then he saw what had been hidden behind the great shield. Her left hand had turned into a cannon. The smoke and explosions that Kanade and Izu had caused had delayed him from realizing what Maple had done. So close. As Payne was activating his skill, he could not move out of the way. He had no choice but to finish swinging his sword. Counter. It was the only normal skill that Maple had acquired during the 3rd event. It was a skill that took the damage that you just received, and added it to your next attack. Before Payne could attack again, a streak of laser fired from the cannon and burned his body. His strongest attack had backfired. GGG, not yet. Payne also had 1 horsepower left, and he tried to close in on Maple once again. Holy Blade of Fragmentation. Savagery. What now appeared in the black fog was something that had been Maple a moment ago. Payne's eyes widened at the difference in threat level and reach that now existed between them. The monster came at him with its multiple arms. Hey, are you serious? He cut off 1 arm and blocked the other with his shield. He succeeded in blocking. However, his opponent was not human. Its hideous mouth opened wide now and tore off the upper half of Payne's body. As if that was not enough, it stretched out its remaining limbs towards Dread and Drag. Seriously? Hey? It's still changing? The 2 had confusion and despair written all over their faces as the monster's mouth spewed a torrent of flames. Dread flinched as his arm was grabbed, and Drag was eaten alive. Well, might as well go peacefully. Dread quietly closed his eyes with resignation as he was eaten. Obviously, the rear guard tried to escape after witnessing this. I am going to run away as well. Multi-acceleration. As Frederica accelerated the remaining players, what used to be Maple jumped over their heads and stuck to the wall. Its head was in front of the exit, and it was dripping saliva. They would have to defeat that if they wanted to escape. It was as they pondered this reality that they heard a skill being shouted behind them. Flying attack. Flying attack. Multi-wall. She said without thinking. And Frederica immediately regretted it. Such defenses were meaningless for stopping Yui and Mai. Predictably, all of the walls and Frederica herself were smashed and vanished into light. What had been the decisive factor for victory or defeat was whether or not they knew about Maple's savagery. Without savagery, Payne's last attack would have taken away the last of Maple's HP, without a doubt. If that happened, there was a good chance that the already pressed front guard would have crumbled first. Of course, Sally intended on fighting to the end, even if that happened. But the assembly of Holy Blades would have the upper hand. The remaining players were also torn to shreds by Maple. Then they just waited for Izu and Kanade to revive as Sally collected the orbs. Now, Maple. We start the 2nd step. Yes. That's right. It was a little past 1 o'clock now. A few hours until morning. Within the darkness of the night, lurked a monster. It moved around, attacking other guilds, with 7 other monsters riding on its back.